So we also need to do the level ups for.
Leveling up.
Don't need to do Charlie's because he's not.
Because he's a little
not here.
bitch.
He's on holiday.
We should hire like a bodyguard because Charlie's
What are
like.
we doing about Schnoz?
He's taking it. He's not playing.
Schnoz is out for this session, so I'm gonna have him running something else in the background that will tie in something else later.
I was thinking, lads, we should hire a burly fellow to be our Charlie the Schnoz McLean because he is quite handy in a fight. I'm just saying, we might want to have some muscle.
So what we need to do is, first of all, you need to decide. Well, we finished doing the level ups. I think, has everyone done that?
No,
Roy,
I haven't even started it.
Yeah, I think you've only got one thing to do anyway.
What, brawl?
Yeah.
But I tried to persuade people too.
Yeah, but
he failed.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, see, I seem to recall.
I remember
we leveled up. I've completely messed this up.
I got my sanity level up, and my hit points are back up to full. But I didn't roll my brawl level up, and I definitely successfully persuaded at least one person.
Alright, we'll say you did persuade because
I did, because remember we had to persuade people to that last to let us in for one thing.
Alright. Yeah, fun.
I didn't hypnotize.
I'm just gonna. I'll be back in 2 minutes, but I need to do my thing as well.
So we need to do the level ups, and then you guys need to finish off what your plan is for for finishing the James Fraser case, because you haven't told his dad what. So you need to decide what you're going to tell Gerald.
We did. We didn't actually roleplay it out, but we did say.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go with that quickly, and then
we're delivering him his son's dead
Here's
body,
what's left of the fecker.
Saying he drowned, and saying that Klaus Heiser is a certified doctor has agreed that he's drowned.
Yeah, Klaus, for $20, we'll write anything on a death certificate.
don't. Okay, I'm not having this. You impugning Klaus's honor in that way.
Right?
If I take Klaus in that direction, you can do it. But right now, he's not corrupted. He's just a coward.
Well, and obsessed with avarice.
He's keeping an eye out for his own wallet, but that's no sin.
How do I level up? I've forgotten. I'm sorry.
You roll a D100 for whatever skills you have.
Yeah.
To level. If it's higher than your skill, you roll a D10 for how many points you can put at it.
If it's
lower,
higher?
if it's higher than your skill, yeah.
But my skill is 73, so I'm very unlikely to roll higher.
Exactly. So you can't become too OP in one skill. Is the point?
Jeez. Rolling a D100. 58. No. So what do I get? Nothing?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Fucking joke. I'll roll
and then roll your persuade as well.
How am I making the rolls when I really want to fail them? Fuck off! What a jip.
Hell yeah, brother.
God, I'm leveling up in this game. We've done 2 big adventures now, and my lad is just 3 points better at brawling. And more insane. That's all I've got out of this. It's kind of getting used to it. It's not like other RPGs where you're like, right, great, now I can use my greatsword and stuff. It's like, no, now you're just slightly crazier.
Well, Klaus has gained some magical powers.
No, that's true. We did get a
To be fair, it's a slow ramping up, because a lot of the POG stuff is basically behind Cthulhu mythos, so it takes a while before you start getting.
Yeah, but by the time you get there, you're half insane. I'm now terrified of water.
Terrified of Vassar, yeah.
True.
Getting in character there, calling it Vassar instead of water. Love that. Love that.
Thank you very much.
He is afraid of the Vassar.
I was watching some American Dad today, which is where I got the name Klaus Heister from. So I'm doing my research on my character.
But we can actually do some training.
Training? Wow.
Yeah. That is basically just a free skill roll. If you have like 4 months spare, you can train in something and essentially get like.
Oh, Raquel Welch died. Wow.
So regarding we might as well do this while Ashton's way, but the Gerald Fraser case, you're basically taking the corpse to him and saying that he drowned, right? That's your
Yes, that is correct.
Trying with a knife in his skull.
Yeah. So
No, then we take the knife out.
take the knife out. Yeah. So you're gonna say like there's some foul play, but that's kind of it. Like you're not gonna. So we'll say that he's paid you the full.
Hell yeah.
Well, yeah. So it's another 200.
So I'm 200 to the account I'm keeping.
Yeah.
So 1,432.
Somebody else keep a note of that. I'm gonna put notes.
So again, while Ashton's away, we can do Chaos. We can do your. Actually, if you want to do training, now's the time to choose something.
Training.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have a few months spare, you can go and train with certain skills.
Okay.
So it depends on what you want to train. If it's something like persuade, for example, that can just be like oration. Like
No, I'm gonna train in the use of a handgun because I think
so. Yeah,
it would
so
be
that would be doable. If you wanted to do something that's hard, like training in I don't know, hypnosis, then it's a different kettle of fish. I won't have to talk about that. But if it's like a normal thing, then you can say essentially that you're kind of putting your mind to it over the course of a few months, and you get a skill roll for it.
What are the rolls do you need to do to level up?
D100. If it's higher than your current skill is, you roll a D10 for how many points you put into it.
Is that how it would work for handgun as well, Munt? I just roll a d100.
Yeah, it would. So you'd be more likely to do it because it's obviously a much lower skill.
That's neat. I want 4 of them.
I buggered that
I-
right up. That's perfect.
Game.
So now I roll a d10, and that's what I
Yeah.
add to it. Come on,
Yeah.
baby.
Right, so
Roy's trolling.
One.
You can re-roll on a 1.
2 of them rifle. So roll
Come
2.
on, baby. Oh no, that's the wrong dice.
Jesus.
Sorry.
He's trolling.
Oh,
Sorry.
we
It's
take
true.
those. We take.
Come on.
Why are you rolling
Why
2
did you take-
d10?
2.
Because I'm doing it all in one.
Great. My handgun goes up to
How do
22.
you change? Oh, you unlock, right?
How do you mean you're doing it all in one?
And then I rolled 4 d100s. 2 of them were above the skill requirements, so I'm rolling 2 d10s and adding those 2.
Oh, I
dice to
see.
the
Okay,
effective
well, you're
skill.
not like okay, yeah.
I would like to
4.
add 2 to my handgun, please.
All right.
Okay.
I'll never use it on a person unless he's affected by a demon.
Have we like is this right after last session? I haven't regained any health or anything, have I?
So essentially, we can say, in this sort of campaign loosely, the time between the adventures is more than sort of half a year, so it's pretty much assumed that you'll be full HP between these. When we go into the actual campaign, we'll have to do actual healing stuff because the time between adventures will be like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, so has everyone done chosen something to train with?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just having a think
just
now.
pretend like Roy is napping because I got to go again.
Can I train natural world? Would that be acceptable?
Yeah, so it just means you're like all reading.
Watching nature documentaries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to buy a gun.
I think. Don't you already have?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I need a handgun.
4. That'll do me just fine.
Okay, so we're also we'll do your mythos thing in a sec, Klaus. For the moment, I'm just going to quickly show you some. So you've kind of done a couple of cases now, and a couple of big cases, including the first one, and you've done a few bits and bobs, things that didn't really end up being sort of tied to the occult and mythos. So at this point in time, you've kind of made a bit of a name for yourself, not too out there, but enough for people to kind of know that you're in town and you're a thing. So at this point, you kind of have enough money to have someone working and living in the headquarters full time. So essentially someone to stop people from, barging in and to take care of bits and bobs while you're all out doing stuff. So I'm going to, if you go under actors, I'm going to reveal some staff or potential people that are essentially looking for an interview.
Munt, I'm just buying a wee 38 revolver. I think
Okay.
that's in keeping with
I'll add that.
my man. And some bullets.
Can you see the staff under the staff folder?
I can see staff. Yeah.
Should be 5.
Is that
total.
under people?
Actors. Yeah.
Actors.
Yeah.
Staff.
Is it 5? 5 people?
It is 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 5.
So you should be able to see what their stats are and stuff.
It says who we're gonna hire.
Yeah.
This is who we
So
can potentially hire.
yeah. So
Ooh, Carolyn Franklin's a hypnotist.
If you can look at their obviously their stats and their backgrounds and things like that. Well, obviously this will assumed to be talked about in the interview and things like that. So that's how you know. But this is basically, this person would be someone that you could potentially rely on to do things for you during cases that you might not be able to. So, like, for example, a library check. If you're out in the wilderness or something, you could potentially get them to a library check while you're not available to go to the library yourself. And also potentially someone that you could take over as a character should your investigator die midway through an adventure. This person would probably be, unless you wanted to make a completely brand new person, for the sake of keeping it going, this person would probably be the character that you would take over just to finish that.
Okay.
A little bit.
So lads, we got two names jump out at me straight away. Dudley Ankins, who's a forger and a bit of a wide boy. He's good at appraising stuff, accounting, forging things if we needed papers to get in somewhere. He's also quite handy with a gun. I'm thinking he could be quite a useful extra lad to have in quite a few situations.
Griffith just
He's like an investigator of his own. Like, he's actually quite handy. He's pretty fucking sane as well. But there's also Herman Greenwald, who knows all about the occult, but is other than that pretty useless. He's almost insane. He's at 40 sanity compared to Dudley, who's fucking 65 sanity. I mean, basically, this Herman Greenwald lad is all about art and appraising, and so he's like an antiquarian. He's the lad, we'd bring him objects. He'd be like, ah, yes, I recognize this. You know, he's like that. But Dudley Ankins, we could be like, Dudley, we need you to go and break into this place and nose about for us. He's a locksmith, he's a forger, he's like a thief, basically. And it might be useful to send him off to do that shit, so we don't have to. I'm a priest, we've got a doctor, I'm not going to send a woman in there in the 1920s. And Roy's too obvious. So I'm thinking Dudley Ankins gets my vote, but I bow to the rest of you.
I think Dudley's pretty good.
Yeah, so I just quickly, if you want, I can quickly go. So obviously one of the other things that might be worthwhile looking into is the fact that some of them have fluency in other languages. So I think Caroline is mostly fluent in Russian.
Yeah.
We've got someone that's fluent in Arabic, and Estelle is fluent in...
That's Herman.
Someone's fluent in Mandarin, I think.
Stella's French.
Cornelius is Mandarin.
Cornelius is Mandarin.
Yeah. So that might potentially be something to think about.
I mean, if we get Herman, that's like a knowledge lad. Like,
Sorry.
I mean, he's quite handy at. First of all, he's got a decent amount. He's got, pretty bloody good at appraising, and he's handy with a rifle. Knows a lot about history and library usage, the occult, persuade. What's his? He doesn't have any mythos though.
Have we started, by the way?
We're currently, if you go to
kind of,
actors and
but-
then staff, we're appraising who we're hiring
Okay.
on.
Actors. Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Staff.
What was that thing you were talking about training? Like,
You can train a skill.
You can, if you pick a skill now,
Something
given that it's
reasonable.
been a few months between our jobs, that it's
right.
possible to sort of conveniently train in that period. You can add some you can
And
do
it
a
doesn't
roll a
have
D100
to.
on it.
Does it have to be one you've selected before?
No.
Yeah,
No. It could be
Something
as, you know, you have to be able
reasonable.
to justify why it's doable in this period of time that you could train it.
Okay.
I added
Well,
2
Roy
firearms.
is gonna have been taxi driving for a while, so he's gonna get some navigation training.
Sure.
How do I? What do
No,
I
You
it's
do?
just do
the
your
same as
normal
a skill
roll on
check.
it.
Roll D100, try to roll over it, add D10.
I see. Okay. Fuck.
This Herman lad isn't too unhandy.
God damn it, Roy.
You have failed.
Classic.
Idiot.
That is,
Roy-
he's
Roy-
a shit
Roy did
navigator.
not pass
He's just been
taxi school.
taxing around lost the entire time.
Yeah, he got lost on the way
I'm
to the
pretty
navigating
sure
school.
there's a left somewhere down here.
Well,
And that's
do we
quite
want-
hard to do
we
in New
want
York.
Herman for the extra knowledge because he knows a lot about the occult. He can speak Arabic. He can appraise items. He's got decent history. Like he might help us with the initial investigation.
I think Dudley covers more of our flaws right now.
Yeah, Dudley is just like
being a criminal scumbag.
because we've got to maintain a pretty good looking sort of facade of decency.
I think Dudley could be
We
pretty
call him
handy,
up.
just so
Dudley.
we don't get our hands dirty.
And
He's
he's
actually
also-
got
he's
he's a
solid.
surprisingly good librarian for some
Yeah,
reason. He's got
yeah.
40 libraries.
Dudley.
The only thing he doesn't
it's
have
Father
is
John Carver
the
here.
language skills, right? Like we'd
Yeah.
fucked if it's any language outside of Latin, which
Well,
is
we
what
don't-
Klaus
well,
is.
we'll be
Just
fine with
roll
that.
like triple success.
We could look it up in the library. How hard can that be?
Yeah.
It's Dudley. It's Father John Carver here. I need you for a little bit of dirty work. If you could go on.
How much
fast down
Arabic
your
is
way.
gonna fucking come up?
Yeah, come on. That's
Well,
one language. Get out of here, Herman. Unless the
I will
DM's
say-
gonna cough.
Okay, I'm not gonna spoil anything at all, but I will say that in general, the 3 big languages for Mythos tomes are English, Latin, and Arabic.
What?
So that is also partially why I.
He's our Arabic speaker again. Is it Herman?
Get Herman in.
He's handy knowledge, lad. Do it.
You know, calling Herman up would be useful.
Yeah,
Given that Dudley's not actually going to be out in the field with us, so we won't be able to make use of his
that's true.
locksmithing skills.
That's
So
true.
if we're calling someone
Also,
up,
I reckon Dudley would backstab us.
You reckon?
Fuck
you're right. Do you think he'll steal
Fuck
from us
no.
whilst we're out on a job?
Start forging
or
checks with
he's
our
a
name
police
on 'em.
informant.
God, we're really doing Dudley dirty. I reckon he's all right.
Fucking
Nah, fuck Dudley. We're Herman Greenwald enjoyers.
Herman Greenwald, who is almost insane, is hired.
He's
Absolutely.
almost insane. What do you mean?
He's got 40 sanity.
Well, I've got like 43.
Christ, all right, well, no wonder we're hiring him. It seems fine to me. Get him in.
So we're getting Herman in then.
Yeah,
Herman
Herman.
Greenwald. Yeah.
Alright, okay. I'll put him under staff there. His little mug.
Oh, look at him there. Hello, Herman.
Where is he?
HQ in the main
HQ.
thing.
There's Herman. Oh, why is this all the way over to the left for me, the HQ? Like, sorry, it's all justified right. Like, I can't... Everything else is fine.
Oh,
But
I don't
HQ
know.
is way top right for me. Look at
It's
the stream.
definitely something. What I'll do is I'll unlock the thing for you.
And I can move it a wee bit.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Catch this fucking it up for everyone else.
Yeah, might.
What was Evelyn doing in our time?
Yeah, what's Evelyn been training, Miles?
Books on appraisal.
Very cool.
Books on appraisals. Isn't Herman an appraisal guy, or is that Dudley?
I think it was
Both of them.
both of them are decent appraisers.
Discord just fucked my mic settings. I don't know what to do.
You sound fantastic. I don't know what you're on about.
My mic keeps activating for some reason.
I wanna wish you a Merry
Hey.
Christmas. Go on.
try zooming in and out with the mouse. Can you do it?
No.
Okay. If you click on.
Everything else is centered, no problemo.
Yeah, I don't know why it's different for you.
Maybe I could just rejoin.
if you right click on the tabs at the top, what does it show you? Does it show you like the options or
Nothing.
on the actual like names of like the case and stuff like that? If you
So if I right click on the case, nothing comes up.
Nothing comes up. Interesting.
Oh god.
What?
Oh, hang on.
I just relogged and mine's fucked now.
Oh, for God's sake.
Do not relog.
Okay.
Try clicking. So there's like a TV button on the side of your screen, Ted. And if you click that and unhighlight the things, you might be able to. If you untick pan lock and zoom lock,
Oh, there we go.
and just click on them, then you should be able to move.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, right, done.
Oh, who rolled a D6?
I didn't think that would work. I rolled a D, fuck you, and it rolled 0.
Congrats.
How do you do it, Munt? Sorry, what am I looking for?
Oh, you won't have it because I only changed it for Ted. What
now
happened
it's
to
gone back to shit though.
But I relogged and it's dog shit.
Right, but so what I'm saying is
I can zoom in and out though.
I set it.
Okay, give me a sec.
And every time, if I click off shops and back to HQ, it's justified at top right again for me.
Yeah, it's because basically, right.
Oh, don't worry.
It doesn't
about
matter.
I can just
Yeah.
zoom out and I can see the whole screen.
I don't need to see anything other than this. It's fine.
I'll sort it for next.
Right, let's get cracking.
Okay, so got War Herman in. Plague, we need to do your Mythos poem that you've got.
Yes.
So it's the Revelations of Glarkey Volume 6. So you've done a initial skim, right? So now you need to do a full study, which is you have to roll sanity loss of 1d3.
1d3. 1 second. Painful.
Okay.
My daily sanity has not reset yet. That's correct.
Oh yeah, everyone can reset their daily sanity.
So I'll go up to 63 sanity now.
And then you can add another 3 points to your Mythos final. So just as a something to mention, you can use Mythos tomes to help you pass Mythos checks. So if it's probably not going to come up for a bit, but essentially you can use something that's related to the sort of area of the Mythos to help you understand something else. So for example, if there was something else related to the Glarkey, you could use the Revolution of Glarkey Volume 6 to potentially help ease the difficulty level of like a Mythos deck, essentially. So now you get after you've done the full read of the book, you can now have access to the spells which are contained within, which I will make only you will be able to see what they do.
Sure.
And then you can basically describe the lads. So when you under items, you should see spells.
Yeah.
And then when you click on it, it will show you the description. The casting time is how long it takes, and then details tell you things like how much sanity it costs, how much power it costs, and the description is basically the most important. So you can inform the lads of what you found, the spells.
Okay. So I have two magical powers available to me. I can call upon the Water Slumberer, and I can cast in areas where Glarkey has influence, which is usually by water or near to the shards of his Elder Prison. It's unusual for him to appear at my first summons, but it will send some servants to talk to me. I can presumably bargain with these servants to achieve goals that we need doing.
Well, wait a minute there, Klaus. You're
suspect the
summoning
price.
dark forces here. This is not This is not what God had planned for you, I'm sure of it.
I think the price will only be in gold. They'll normally be persuaded.
If you go down this dark path, it may take your soul with it. That's my
And
concern,
now
Klaus.
my
I'll have
other
no
option.
part of it.
My other option is gather the abundance of the sea, where I summon
Please,
fish
God,
to my
no!
location.
That's even worse!
I summon fish to my location. I have to prepare bait mixed with my blood and then throw it into the ocean or open water location while singing a chant.
Please, Klaus, take the demons. Not the
And
fish.
within 1 hour, up to 100 fish will congregate.
That
So
sounds
should we ever
useless. That sounds
should we ever
absolutely
need
useless.
100 fish?
The other one
Klaus can
sounds much
provide.
better. That sounds shite. I'll be honest
Well,
with you.
you got the fishing rod. So
I've got the fishing rod. It's actually perfect. I can whenever I want to.
We
I
could
can-
start quite a legitimate business, actually, as
Start
fishermen.
fishing.
Just, I need 100
That's
fish.
flawless.
By
I fucking
dawn.
love that.
No problem. Well, we definitely, nothing, anything to do with the sea, I'm dead against, as you know. But I mean, I'm just
Cool.
thinking, summoning demons, right, or some kind of devils from beyond time and space to come and natter with us. Either way, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, I don't think they'll ask for that much. That it's not that big a deal.
Okay, so with that we can start the case. So I'll quickly read the intro and then we'll just go over a couple of bits. Now it was January where in the James Fraser case it's now October. So October 1st, 1927. The Inquisitores Extraordinari receive a call from Bryce Fallon, faculty dean at the Miskatonic University. Having heard rumours of the IE's involvement with the James Fraser case, and with old landlord Mr. Corbett's warm recommendation, Mr. Fallon has decided that the team is his best option for a quiet investigation of some missing documents, the Arkham Witch Trial Papers. So, he's had a small call with you over the phone at HQ. He's not willing to fully discuss what he needs doing and the sort of details of the case over the phone. So you're going to have to travel to the Miskatonic University in Arkham. If you look under the map, you have like a very, very rough idea of this is the south side of Arkham, so under the river. So yeah, he's at the university, and the details are going to be there with him. Oh, also unpause. Oh. So I'm assuming we're just going to go straight.
Go have a chat with him, I guess.
We've got to go have a chat.
Nice
straight to the
job,
gaff.
Alistair.
Okay,
68
so
inch pins just resubbed for
all
28
bundling into the same
months.
car, right?
Top lad.
Take
Yeah,
the
Roy is driving.
take the drive over to Arkham, head towards the Miskatonic University. You've obviously been here before, and same business reception. You wait a while in the reception, and eventually a member of staff comes to escort you essentially to Bryce Fallon's office, which is sort of on the east side of the campus. So it's quite an old historic building. Walk up some creaky stairs, and outside the office are a bunch of armchairs. Wait around for a bit, and eventually Bryce opens the door and kind of ushers you into the office. He's in his mid 50s, white hair, sort of charming old man, essentially.
Yeah, that's old. That is old, 50.
Sort of has like an air of pleasantness.
Hello, I'm 50, so I am now a decrepit old man.
I can barely walk.
Who's speaking?
What you say again?
Okay, right. So, what from now on, I'll say 70 years old, right? I know this is
70 years old.
okay. All right. So he's a young man at 50. And yeah, so
Middle-aged.
he's a middle-aged man. Okay, early 50s, and so there's not enough chairs for everyone to sit down, but he sort of offers you seats nonetheless, and he kind of taps some papers on his desk, sort of looks around his desk for a bit, and then begins to talk. So, hello, thanks for coming. Now, I'm sure you've got questions about these mysterious papers, but I have to warn you first and foremost that it is of utmost importance that this investigation is kept on the down low. University's reputation is at stake here. So,
What do you know about our previous investigation?
well, through Mr. Corbett, I have had dealings with Gerald Fraser. Obviously, we certainly get a share of donations from certain individuals, and the fact that his son worked here and his son studied here, I vaguely recall an investigation into his
That's how we like
disappearance.
it. Vague. Your
You know,
secret is safe with
horrible,
us.
horrible thing. Did you find out what happened to
I'm
Mr.
afraid we
Fraser by
couldn't
chance?
possibly share that information with you, but
Right.
discretion is a big part of how we operate. We'll put it that way.
Well, that's good. I mean, to be frank with you, the university has seen its fair share of dodgy occurrences, so this isn't really anything new for us. However, the magnitude of what I've brought you in today for is unprecedented for Miskatonic. Had the police round, and unfortunately, according to the other staff that I've talked to, we do believe that a thorough police investigation would be against the best interests of the university and its reputation. So I'll give you a rundown of what's happened and what we need from you. So I'm not sure if you read the papers, but recently old Joshua from the estate outside of Arkham, the Hob House estate, that is, he passed away, and he was the last of his line. Now, the estate that was looking after all of his belongings, they have done an inventory of all the sort of documents and his belongings. They then sent us a bunch of these documents for appraisal to see if any of them were of any worth. This is usually left to our history. Oh, hang on, I can hear myself.
Ted, your mic's echoing again.
Fucking hell.
Oh,
Sorry, I just haven't got it on both ears. Go on.
sorry.
I even turned you down and you can still hear me.
So usually this is left to our professor of colonial history, Mr. Charles Leiter, who appraises all of these sort of documents, and in return for, a bump to our reputation and a few donations, we essentially give them decent appraisals. And
did you say he was a professor of colonial history?
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
So,
What's his last name?
Leiter.
Leiter. Charles Leiter. So, he was working on these documents from the Hob House manse, which is, like I said, outside of Arkham. And after a while, people in the faculty started to notice that he was behaving a bit strangely. Usually kind of a charming man, a bit of a socialite. Not someone I personally dealt a lot with, but he was fairly well liked by the members of staff and a lot of his students. So about a week ago, we discovered that he was in a sense sort of like a paranoid state and not really fit to continue working. We obviously have no idea what's caused that, but
he failed a sanity roll is what happened there.
More importantly, one of the documents which he discovered as part of the inventory for the Hob House manse was a a document called the Arkham Witch Trial Papers, and I'm sure you've heard of the Salem witch trials. Well, you should know that obviously there was something similar here in Arkham, and to this sort of New England area, especially around Arkham, they're of great interest to people who are interested in colonial history and sort of, you know, this sort of area. So I personally don't know how much these were worth. All I know is that they were unfortunately stolen just last week. Well, we assume last week. About 7 days ago, we discovered, or rather one of our students discovered, Charles Leiter's corpse in his office, and upon looking through his files and documents, some of the documents from the Hobhouse estate were missing, but mainly the Arkham Witch Trial Papers. So, with our professor dead and the Arkham Witch Trial Papers missing, we essentially suspect foul play.
How was he
Now,
killed?
well, we have a physician on site who could tell you more about it, but
What's his name or her
apparently,
name?
Dr. Wheatcroft. We can obviously direct you towards him
Of
after
course.
this conversation. He is yet to perform an autopsy on the body.
Over a week later.
Well, you see, he claims that there's something not quite right with the body and is hesitant to pass it off as what he claims should be a case of, as I've heard it, a massive heart failure. Now, that's all I've really been informed about. I haven't seen the body myself, but apparently it might not be the full story.
Mm-hmm.
So my suspicion is someone has come into Leiter's office, understanding the potential value of these papers, potentially, offed the poor man and then stolen the papers. Now, we're essentially keeping this quiet from the estate, but if they were to become aware of the fact that sort of their valuable documents have been lost,
Yeah,
then
I got you. They might want
damage
the
their
rest of them
reputation.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, if you have any questions about any of this, just ask away, and I'll do my
What
best
did
to
these
answer.
papers contain specifically? Can you give us any more detail about them? How many of them? Was it several pages, or are we talking volumes? What are we looking at?
It's, from what I've heard, I haven't really handled any of these documents myself because I'm the faculty dean, and this was Charles Leiter's specialty, so I didn't really have much to do with it. But I heard essentially it was a notebook from one of the witch hunters at the Arkham Witch Trial Papers. So it's a singular book filled with notes, like a diary almost. But
Okay.
outside of that, I don't really know much about it.
How old was
And-
Charles Leiter?
Early 30s, 33, 34, I
Early for a
believe.
heart attack.
Well, there's all manner of medical conditions out there.
What
I'm
was his
sure.
lifestyle like? Would you describe him as a big drinker?
Well, honestly, between us, we do think Leiter had a bit of a gambling issue. Something that his assistant Amelia Court might be able to confirm with you, but yeah, he definitely had some ties to gambling.
Amelia
Other than that-
Court.
Yeah. Other than that, didn't seem like he was in a particularly dodgy, a dodgy spot. He was good with his students, well liked, like I said, by the faculty staff. Wasn't one to miss work. Has typically always done these sort of assessments of documents without much issue. So it's an anomaly for sure.
Did he have any family in the area? Was he married? Any kids? Anything like that?
I don't think he had any family in the area, and I mean, I don't really know his personal life. We didn't really talk that much,
I see.
but I am not the one to ask this. Unfortunately, he might have a girlfriend, perhaps, but I wouldn't know.
I suppose Amelia might know more, but. And you just want us to find what happened to the papers, or if we can't get them back, what's the crack? With regards to payment, shall we say? Because they might be irretrievable. We'll try and get them back for you, and of course we promise total privacy and confidence, but they might be lost. You're aware of that.
As long as we're aware of the exact result of the investigation in terms of what happened to the papers, then there's potential for you to get paid without retrieving the papers. But frankly, failing something like they were clearly in a fire and blew up, or something that is utterly concrete, we need the papers.
Understood.
That's essentially what we've brought you in here for.
Okay.
Do we have access to his office?
Yes, no, I can give you the keys to his office and his house on campus.
Yes, please.
We've already done a sort of preliminary search of his office,
And the police have been in as well, right? You said.
the police have been in, but they only assumed that Charles died of natural causes, which is our official stance, and frankly, I don't see why it wouldn't be. But they are not aware of the missing papers. Only that the professor has passed away, and after a sort of small check of his office, we've kind of pushed them out of the university. So that's why we've invited you.
Gotcha. You had a question, Plague.
I was going to ask about the office as well, so that's been covered.
Oh, Munt, you never gave me my revolver. It's just a 38. I don't think it's in my items. Oh, you've added it as ranged weapon. It doesn't show up in gear and cache. Gotcha. My bad.
Oh, yeah.
Continue. Just thinking I'll pop this guy and we'll see what he says then. Just shoot him. No, I'm gonna get him. Right, chaps. I suppose we go have a look at his office first, shall we?
I think it may be worthwhile for us to split up. I don't see what value having the rest of you here for the autopsy will be for me.
Agreed.
So I may as
Find
well go
out.
talk to
First
Dr.
of all,
Wheatcroft.
Klaus, find out why he waited a week to autopsy a man. That's ridiculous. That's going to make your
I
job
will be
a lot
questioning
harder.
this so-called doctor intently. Do not worry.
Herr Doctor, explain yourself! Herr Doctor, so-called
This is a
Wheatcroft.
disgrace for the medical profession.
Herr Doctor Wheatcroften.
But whilst I'm speaking with Wheatcroft, you may want to interrogate the professor's house and his office.
I'll go talk to Amelia. If you guys want to have a nosy around his house and his office, each of us could do a different thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, Evelyn, if you want to have a look around his office, and Roy, since you've got the motor, have a look around his house.
Yeah.
I'll go and chat to Amelia, and Plague can go and chat to this feckin' doctor.
I can chat to the dead body. My
Okay.
favorite.
So we'll split you up, and we'll just start with Klaus going to see Dr. Wheatcroft in the medical department. So you are directed towards the medical department, and you find Dr. Wheatcroft's office essentially in the basement, with a kind of like surgery essentially for things like just basic injuries and first aid. So Dr. Wheatcroft is nowhere to be seen when you're down there, but after waiting for a few minutes and kind of calling out, he sort of trundles out of one of these supply closets and walks up to you and is like, "Yes, how can I help?"
Ah, Dr. Wheatcroft, pleasure to meet you. My name is Dr. Klaus Heisler. I'm here about the unfortunate Charles Leiter. It was mentioned that you thought there was some odd things around the body.
He kind of looks at you with a bit of suspicion. He's not quite 100% sure if you're sort of qualified, but because you're a medical man, shall we say, his sort of suspicions are quelled, and he begrudgingly kind of nods and says, "Yes, no, you're absolutely right. I believe Mr. Fallon sent you, right?"
That is
So-
correct, yes.
He beckons you to follow him, and you walk through a door onto sort of like a morgue, but it's more like makeshift because obviously the university doesn't have a proper morgue, so it's more like just a surgery table that's just been kitted out for this body. It has a sheet over it, and he beckons you to come close to the body and slowly kind of pulls back the sheet, and you can see Charles Leiter's hideous visage as the sheet comes down. So he starts to describe to you what he's seen as the in terms of what the body looks like. Well, as you can see, it's not our typical corpse. I'm going to quickly reveal a clue for you here, Plague.
Sure.
One sec. It's going to only be for Plague.
Oh, ew! Christ.
Lisa.
Lovely.
So he starts to describe what his thoughts are. So, as you can see, we have Mr. Leiter here, and what can only be described as a most peculiar manner of death. Now, as a medical man yourself, I'm eager to get your thoughts on the cause of death here, because having done a sort of preliminary look over, I can only deduct that his cause of death was essentially a heart attack, and yet you can see from the face, especially the eyes, a heart attack does not simply do that to a man. As a result of this weird body contortion that Mr. Leiter has clearly undergone, I've been hesitant to explain the details around his death to the other members of staff, especially Mr. Fallon. So please, if you'd like to go ahead and take a look yourself, we can do the autopsy together, and perhaps we'll come up with something.
And you do not believe the contortion was a result of rigor mortis? He was found like this, correct?
So, as far as I'm aware, he was found exactly like this, and since we've moved him from where he was found in the office to here in medical department, seems to have experienced none or very little decomposition, which I'm sure, as you're aware, is bizarre at this point. After a week, he should be in the early stages at least, and yet his corpse seems fairly pristine, and we're not even in a sort of proper morgue with the right temperatures. This is just a normal surgery, and yet no signs of decay.
It seems to me, Doctor, that the next step would be to perform an autopsy. I'd be delighted to assist you in this matter.
Okay. So I'm going to quickly send you, Plague, on Discord your autopsy result here, which you can RP.
Can I roll forensics to get some level up points?
I've sent it to you on Discord.
Yeah.
You can just quickly read through it, and I will jump back to something else. So we'll go to Ted with Amelia, right?
Sure.
So actually, you'll be going with Evelyn's going to the office, right?
She's
So
going to
both of
nose
you-
around his office.
Yeah. So both of you will be going together because
Okay.
they are basically at the same place, and you again just get sent towards Lighter's office, which is sort of a few minutes walk away from the main building. The office is kind of small. It's old-fashioned. Got just a single desk with some filing cabinets and a small fireplace. Now, on the wall, there is a shattered mirror, and there is still a few documents kind of scattered about on the floor. But outside of that, there doesn't seem to be anything else unusual. So
The mirror
Miles,
is broken, though, you're saying?
yes, the mirror is shattered in place. So the glass hasn't fallen to the ground, but the mirror is shattered. And next door to the office is a slightly smaller room where Emilia Court, who is a postgraduate student, basically works or was working for Leiter. She's like his assistant, so
Okay.
she has a smaller room to the side, and she can be found in there now. So while Miles, I'm going to assume you're going to look through the room a bit.
Yep.
And while she's doing that, you approach Emilia Court, who's still currently writing something on her desk.
Amelia, my name is Father John Carver, and I've got a few questions for you about what happened to your employer, Mr. Charles Leiter, if I may. Don't mind the cigar smoke. It's good for the lungs. Opens them up.
Well, how do you do? Yes, no, of course. Ask.
Doing your Arca voice.
I'm doing the Arca voice. Of course. By all means, ask away.
How well did you know Mr. Leiter?
Well, I've been working him for a while now. Just been helping out with
How
bits
long?
and bobs. A couple of years now. I'm a postgraduate student, and this is essentially a good way of getting to grips with a lot of the colonial history of Massachusetts and New England.
So you were a history student.
Yes, I was a history student.
And what were your responsibilities for him? What was expected of you?
Well, mostly just sort of menial tasks, bits and bobs. I'd transcribe some of our older documents that needed recording, and most of the actual appraisals of the sort of documents that come in from foreign entities were done by him. But any of the sort of smaller bits or less important things, that would be me doing that.
And did you ever get a look at these missing papers, the Arkham witch trial papers? Did you ever get a good look at them?
I mean, I saw them in there once, but no, I haven't actually. I never got to actually read them. They were one of the things that Mr. Leiter was intent on transcribing for himself, so must have been quite important.
So one thing that we've heard is that his personality and his demeanor seemed to change shortly before his sad death. Can you tell me how he changed? What did you notice?
Well, normally Mr. Leiter was a kind of charming, quiet man, easy to be around. I wasn't really too into him. He was a bit of a womanizer, but honestly, the past 3 weeks before his death, he was acting very, very strangely. At first, it was almost like he thought he was being followed, like paranoia, looking over his shoulder, very on edge. And then later, weeks later, he complained about nightmares and things kind of closing in on him. In the last few days before, I barely saw him, but he was no longer well dressed. He was unkempt, dirty, like he forgot to take care of himself. And yeah, I didn't see him for a couple of days, and then I found him in the office dead, September 24th.
And when you found him dead, did you? Well, but how did you find him? Did you just come into work and he was there? Were you working in the next room, or what happened there?
Well, I came into work as usual, and I tried to go into Mr. Lighter's office. He was usually there much earlier than I was. It was a normal working day, and I couldn't get into his office. The door was locked, so I assumed that he was either not here or inside, but didn't wish to be disturbed. But after a while, I knocked on his door a few times. There was no response, and the fact that there'd no signs of him being ill or anything like that made me a bit suspicious. So we got one of the janitors with the spare key to open up the office, and there he was on the floor.
And where he was on the floor?
He was on the floor. His face was, I never forget it, struck by like a hideous visage. His eyes were like awful, and he was frozen, like in a his face was frozen in fear almost.
And what about that mirror? Do you know anything about how that got broken now?
I have no idea. I mean, I never heard anything from his office, like glass breaking or anything like that. It must have happened during his death.
Interesting. So, if you don't mind me asking a couple of personal questions, if I may, you never had a relationship with Mr. Lighter, did you?
No, he already had someone that he was into, I believe.
And would you know who that was?
Oh, well, only overheard it over phone calls, so not really. But I think someone called Lucy. I think she works at some place, some roadhouse or somewhere, like as a waitress. I think outside Arkham or on the outskirts. But I don't know much more than that. Unfortunately, I didn't pry into his private life.
And do you know if anybody came to visit Mr. Lighter in the days leading up to his death? Anyone that you perhaps hadn't seen before, or even someone you had seen before?
Well, there's only two people that come to mind really. Anthony Flinders and Harland Roach, or Mr. Roach, I guess. Mr. Roach is another history professor here at the university, and him and Mr. Lighter were essentially rivals, I guess, for better use of a word. Mr. Roach, although he was more professional in terms of the sort of papers and books that he published, he was had more merit to his work. His kind of demeanor and appearance, I feel, let him down quite a lot. So I'm sure if you go speak to him, you'll see what I mean. But Mr. Lighter was essentially the first point of call for these documents to be transcribed from for foreign entities, and I think that was a cause of, or a source of, rivalry between the two.
And what about this Flinders fella?
Flinders, well, he's a menace. He's a thorn in our sides. He's also a history student, but his insistence on trying to get Mr. Lighter to let him look at all these old documents is, well, it was a constant barrage. He, I believe, is trying to do a thesis on something related to colonial history. So he was here a fair few times, essentially trying to get Mr. Lighter to take him on and help him with his thesis, from what I recall. But
okay, I see. And when was the last time that these men came? Did you hear any kind of arguments or anything like that coming from Lighter's office? Any raised voices or anything?
No. Anthony Flinders must have come round a few weeks ago, last time I saw him, and just turned away again by Mr. Lighter. Just more of a pest than than anything, but I guess he's desperate to try and get into, or was desperate to get into Mr. Leiter's good books. Mr. Roach, I haven't seen him and Mr. Leiter talk for some time, so months probably.
Well, I can't think of anything else to ask you, really.
So, okay, yeah. So you can just think on it a bit more, and I'll go to.
I'll have a think. Yeah.
So Evelyn, you're in the office next door,
Yep.
and was there anything you wanted to focus on?
A shattered mirror. Is there any way for me to tell how?
So when you look at the mirror, the glass has basically been shattered in place, and outside the edges of the glass, the mirror has just like been melted basically. So the center is kind of shattered, and where the glass meets the frame, the glass is kind of melted. But there's no real way for you to tell how that's come about. After you sort of look around his desk, you do find a matchbook for a Hibbs's Roadhouse, sort of lying underneath one of the legs of the desk. Other than that, there's a number of letters and documents that have been burnt in the fireplace, but none of them are retrievable. They're all sort of blackened ash. When you look through the filing cabinets, there's quite clearly some documents been removed, but there's no real way for you to tell what they were or how important they were. Okay, so
in his desk or
no, so you go through his desk and it's just mostly random bits of paper and documents and notes, but you go through like one of these shelves, for example, and there's nothing really of any interest that you can see. It's all just generic sort of academia work.
Okay.
Roy,
Yes, sir.
you are closing in on the on the cottage here. It's just on the other side of campus. It's just one of the cottages that are basically given out to certain members of the staff that just live on site.
Yeah.
You just open the door with the key, and the layout of the room is essentially there's just a hallway going straight to the middle, and at the end of the hallway there's the living room. There's also a dining room, a kitchen, a study, and a toilet. And then on the upper floor there is a bedroom and a guest bedroom. So if there's anything you'd like to focus on.
We're going to the study first.
Sure. So in the study, there's a bunch of papers burnt in the fireplace, and again, none of them seem to be retrievable. It's all just like blackened paper and ash. There's also a bunch of papers that are just scattered everywhere, like someone has left in a hurry. Now,
Okay.
you do see on the desk there is a receipt. I will reveal it to you.
Is this gonna go in my clues or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Okay. And you also find some receipts for
What's the date today, by the way?
The day is October 1st.
Okay. sure.
Bear in mind this is American
Yeah,
date.
yeah. Okay.
And there's also a couple of receipts for trips to Atlantic City that you can see, and on the doormat coming in to the house, there's a letter, an unopened letter that, when opened, reveals a request of visit from the Arkham Sanatorium regarding a patient called C. Hunter. Outside of that, there's no real information. It's just been posted through the door and has clearly not been opened yet.
Okay. Right, that was a lot. Okay. Yeah. So that's everything in the study.
Yeah.
So the papers that are scattered everywhere, I'll take a quick look at them. But
Yep.
I don't presume that.
There's just mostly bills and things like that.
Okay.
Nothing of real importance.
Does he have like a desk?
Yes. So you found the receipt on his desk, but inside his receipt, there, inside the desk, there again, it's just mostly documents and things like that. But in the bottom drawer, there is a casino chip.
Okay. So that is evidence of what good old gambling buddy, potentially. Right, and there doesn't seem to be any
Nice
can I
jump,
check around for any
Alistair.
secret compartments
Fletch
in the
just
desk?
resubbed for 15
Yeah.
months. Hey.
Absolutely. You give me a spot hidden roll.
Okay. Oh, shit.
So you don't find any hidden compartments or anything from like looking around the desk, but you do find a kind of piece of paper that's kind of slipped between the shelves that has it's like sort of a fine art drawing, just of a basically of a landscape, and it's signed Sea Hunter.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Quick side related question. How do you reset the gold dots again?
You should be able to double click them.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So that's I'm pretty happy with the study. I I just want to go check the front door
Yep.
lock, see if it looks
Yep.
particularly new.
Yeah. So the door does have a new bolt added to it. It's like pristine metal.
Okay. Does it look like it's been tampered with?
No, but there's signs of where the wood has been kind of chipped. That obviously the previous lock has been removed, and
Okay.
the new one has been put on.
Okay then. And all this sort of scuffle in the study, is there any sort of direction it looks like someone was trying to get into?
No, it just seems like whoever was here was looking for something or trying to
Right. Okay.
find things, and was just pushing things away to
Right.
find it.
So I've got what other rooms have I got? Dining room, kitchen.
Yeah, so
toilet.
there's a dining room, kitchen, and the 2 bedrooms upstairs.
Okay, we will head into the 2 bedrooms.
Okay.
The non-guest bedroom first.
Yeah. So there's no real like things of interest in the guest bedroom. It's just like a nice pristine bedroom. But on the table side next to the bedroom, there is a letter that's been partially opened. I will reveal that to you. So you should see that.
Yeah. I can't see the rest of this. I can't pull it out.
You can maybe zoom. Like if you make the whole thing bigger, it should zoom in.
Yeah, I know, but it's like it's like half in the letter.
Oh yeah. No, that's fine. The other half is just it's just what you can see.
Okay.
That's important.
Fine.
Okay, so we'll go back to Klaus at this point. So you've done the autopsy with Mr. Wheatcroft,
We have indeed.
and have you got any questions to ask him, or if you want to do anything else with the body, please let me know.
Can I see if I can work out? So, in the description you gave me, we have discovered that his eyes appear to have been burned by some method. Can I try and ascertain what might have done the damage? Or is that not
Yeah.
possible? Nice.
Give me a medical check.
Sure. Where the fuck is medical? There we go. Failed.
Okay, so you obviously know that the eyes have suffered thermal damage, but it's kind of difficult to tell what's actually happened to them. One thing you are sure of though is that it wouldn't have been heat from, say, a blowtorch or something, because the tissue around the eyes have not been burnt or damaged.
Yeah.
So whatever it was just did direct damage to the eyes.
Dr. Vitkoff, have you in your experience ever seen any case like this, where the decay of the body has been slowed?
Well, no, I haven't personally, no, but the only thing I can think of is, those bodies they always find in swamps and God knows where, peat bogs. That's about the closest I know. But no, I've never in my life seen. I was a coroner in Boston, and yeah, through all my years, I've never seen anything quite like this. See, the manner of death is intriguing, but what's more disturbing is the fact that the visage is in such a position, almost like the man was in absolute terror, and yet it is almost frozen in place. Now, I think without that, it might not be too difficult to suggest that some bizarre medical experience happens to this man, something that we perhaps don't know too much about, but this makes me think that there's something peculiar going on. Can I get you to a listen roll, please?
Just Mr. Klaus.
Yeah. Pass. Okay, so as he says this, you can hear almost like an entity from like across the room behind one of the walls. You can feel and hear something weird. You can't quite tell what it is, but it sounds like something has passed this door that leads into one of the supply closets.
My God, did you feel that? That was a truly eerie feeling. It felt like it was coming from over there. Did you notice anything?
No, but I gotta tell you, Doctor, that I have a strange feeling working with this body past week. Don't know quite how to describe it. Obviously, as men of medicine, we don't believe in any of that superstitious stuff. But if I was a superstitious man, then I have a feeling I wouldn't really be sticking around here. Something about this body definitely gives me the creeps.
May I have your permission just to check into the supply closets, just to sate my curiosity?
Absolutely, absolutely,
Right, can I
Mr.
go
Heisler.
have a
Yep.
poke around?
Yep. So you open up the supply closet, and there's literally nothing in there. It's just
Nice.
supplies.
Went. Can I pull a Greg and steal some supplies?
Do you have a
do you have any
wheelchair?
wheelchairs around?
Yeah.
We've been amassing a collection.
Perhaps
No,
a wheelchair. Oh.
If there's nothing in the supply closet, I'll just take that as there's some weird shit around this corpse. I haven't got anything else I can think of immediately to ask. I think I'd want to report back that my findings from the autopsy to the rest of the crew.
Yep, absolutely.
So
do
I'll
you
start
wanna
heading. I'll
Yeah,
start heading
sorry.
back towards a central meeting point that we obviously
Yeah.
agreed before we split up because we're
We'll say
sensible adults.
we'll say it's outside of Bryce's office, like the
Yeah.
faculty area. Okay. Back to Father John with Amelia.
I'll chat to Amelia. Did you find anything?
About
Do you mean
what?
Evelyn?
Evelyn, did you find anything?
You're not with Evelyn yet. You're still talking to
No,
Amelia.
She's in the next
Well,
room.
yeah, she's in the next room. So
Oh, right.
He could talk to her.
I didn't find much. There was a bunch of documents that were burned.
Well, we'll ask her. Amelia, what do you know about this? Come here now. Look at these burned documents. Did you do that?
Well, no, I definitely didn't. That was like that when we found the body. I don't really go into Mr. Lighter's office without him being there. So obviously, whatever happened, it was his doing. But I'm not sure personally why he would burn any documents. But
Is there anything that's gone missing? Other than these papers, of course.
oh well, again, I wouldn't really know. This is his office. God knows where he puts his things. Other than the documents from the Hob House estate, I'm not aware of anything else that's gone missing. But
I found this matchbook from the Hibbs Roadhouse. Do you know where this is?
not exactly, but from the street, it's outside of Arkham on the south side. It's one of the south streets, so probably find it around there if you do a bit of looking.
You heard anything about it now? Any rumours about it? Is it a fine upstanding place or is it a place of ill repute?
Oh, I don't know. I've never been. I know Mr. Leiter's girlfriend or mistress, I believe, worked there. He mentioned it a few times, but no, I've never been, and frankly, I've no intention of going either.
Alright, well, you'll get back to your work now. Thank you so much for your time. Unless you've got any questions for her, Evelyn.
I don't think she'd know about why the mirror was shattered.
No.
But I did find that the center of the glass was shattered, but the outside was melted, which is very interesting.
Let's have a look at that. Can I have an investigate of the mirror as well? Because I haven't had a chance to have a look at it yet.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I'm going to have a look at the mirror.
Yeah. So it's tell you what, do me a spot hidden roll.
Not my forte.
Both of us?
Ah, no, Evelyn, you appear to have missed this little detail here.
So it's not apparent to Evelyn, but from where Father John is standing and looking at the mirror, essentially the epicenter of where the glass is shattered in the mirror is about a third of the way down from where the frame is, and it almost lines up exactly where Father John's eyes would be looking if he was looking directly ahead.
So right at eye level.
Yeah.
Amelia, can you point us out exactly where the body was found, please?
Yeah. No, it was just here next to his desk. He's lying straight as a board.
How close is that to the mirror?
It's basically if if you were standing at, let's say, arm's length from the mirror, it's about 2 steps back, and then the height of lighter, and then fallen backwards. So he's in line with the mirror.
So in all likelihood, he's looked in the mirror, seen something, it scared him to death, and he's fallen backwards and been found stone dead. We should meet up with head doctor and tell him what we found here. Might give him some clues.
I agree.
Could you direct us to the morgue? Or where the body is, please?
Yep, absolutely. So she sends you to the medical department, and on the way you cross paths with Klaus.
Herr Doctor, we might have a possible cause of death. Just a theory at the moment now, but we think he might have seen something in the mirror that scared the bejesus out of him.
Well, upon entering the chest cavity, we discovered that his heart had symptoms similar to a heart attack. However, the curious thing is the rest of his organs had suffered similar damage. It'd been a total catastrophe inside there. Everything had shut down, even to the point that the actual flora of his gut biome was gone. It meant that he was not decaying.
Incredible.
And the weirdest part of all was his eyes had been burned. Not as if by physical fire, like there'd be damage around the sockets, but just the back of the eyes itself were burned.
Interesting.
And his face was twisted as if he'd seen something truly terrible before he died.
Well, I think he had, in that mirror. And that shattered mirror, and it had burns around as well. So something terrible he's seen in the mirror, or something's been reflected into the mirror and bounced into his eyes. We should go and have a look and see.
Certainly an element of the supernatural. I felt something that prickled the hairs on the back of my neck first I was doing that autopsy. I've never seen anything like it before.
Munt, I'm going to go and have a look back in his office.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, if he's looking in the mirror, if someone shone something from like a window or something, is there any sign on the window? Because I'm just thinking, if they like had some kind of a, I don't know, some kind of fucking Cthulhu laser beam sort of thing, blasted it out of a medallion or something, it bounces off the mirror and into his eyes, zaps him. So I'm just going to check from the sort of trajectory from the mirrors, or anything behind it. Someone could have reflected off something. Someone could have done something from out there.
So you'll take a look around the walls and around the window, but the glass of the window has not been damaged, and none of the walls have been damaged or have signs of high intensity light or anything of that sort.
And no footmarks in the soil other than my own in the outside the window or anything like that, like someone's been there.
Nope. So you look outside the window and it's just standard. There's no signs of foul play. The only thing that suggests something was wrong was basically the mirror and the papers in the fireplace.
All right. Well, let's grab a cup of tea and wait for Roy then, I guess, and then we'll figure out what our next step is.
Okay, so back to you, Roy.
Back to Roy.
So you've had a look at the bedroom, the 2 bedrooms upstairs, and the study. The only other places are basically the kitchen, living room, and the dining room.
Oh, there's a living room. Yeah, I'll go check the living room.
Okay, so the living room is just fairly standard. A couple of sofas, coffee table. Doesn't seem to be any signs of foul play here whatsoever. It just looks like it's been left clean and tidy. Nothing really of interest.
Doesn't look like anyone came in here looking for something.
No.
Okay. Well, to the dining room.
Yep. So again, it's the same. The dining room and the kitchen both have no signs of activity really. Essentially, like whoever was in here last has just totally ignored them. You know, they're spotless. Like someone's just cleaned up as they would, and then not used them since the Well, since
Sure. Okay, well, Roy probably won't do that much more digging around, so he's gonna head back.
sure. Okay. Um, okay, so you all congregate in a sort of lobby in the main building on the ground floor. A few chairs, a couple of sofas, little table, and that's where you all meet together.
After
Well, can I share my clues with everyone?
Yeah. So I will reveal the clues now to everyone else.
So I'm gonna open with my letter from Lucy. Now, would I have been there to learn about Lucy in the first place when we talked to this lad?
No.
Was it from the lady that we learned?
Yeah,
about?
you don't know about Lucy just
Well,
yet.
Roy is just going to explain about how he's found this letter from someone called Lucy. There's an address on there which I think says Garrison Street.
Looks like Garrison Street.
And looks like they were romantically engaged.
Man, her R's are crazy.
But yeah, this was found in the guest bedroom, so I don't know particularly if
Sorry, no, that was found in the main bedroom.
That's
like,
found in the main bedroom. Yeah. Okay, sure. All right, that's found in the main bedroom. And then the only other thing is, I had a receipt from a locksmith, I guess, for replacement bits for the door, like the lock and the doorknob. Had a look at the door, and indeed, it looked like there was some shit had changed.
Sorry, man. I'm sure this is 9th of December. What is the date when he died?
No, sorry, it's 12th of September. It's American.
Oh, right. 12th of
American
September.
date.
So he locked everything up 12th of September. Can you remind me the day he died, please?
So 12th of September is the receipt. September 24th is when the body is found, and it's now October 1st.
Okay.
So it's theoretically possible that he knew something was coming for him.
Yeah.
But where did he die again? He died in
his office. Yeah.
So whatever it was, he wasn't prepared for it at the office or something, or maybe he was just gonna go grab something. Did you ask if he was?
So here's what we think.
Particularly reclusive recently.
Yeah. So he was acting really strange in the days leading up to his death. As soon as he started reading these Witchfinder papers, it was a notebook from the Witchfinder General or some Witchfinder back then in Arkham. So this would have been I guess the 18th or 19th century, probably 18th for Witchfinder stuff. And essentially, he had received these papers and in appraising them, suddenly had changed. He was previously a fairly charming, outgoing, easygoing guy. He did have some problems. He had a bit of a gambling thing. He had a girlfriend working at a roadhouse somewhere, so apparently had a reputation as a bit of a womanizer, according to his assistant. But he burned a load of papers in his office the night that he was killed, I suspect. He went in there.
I also found a lot of burnt papers.
Right, so he's covering something up. He's hiding something, burning a shitload of things. He burned papers at his office. As you said, he's burning papers at his house. Something happens. The best theory we've got so far is he looks in this mirror in his office. Something happens in that mirror, whether it's some kind of spell or some kind of entity or something in that mirror, scares him so badly that it completely cleans out his body and just everything inside him is just mushed. And he drops dead, and that's where they find the body, and he's scared. Wasn't even scared to death. It wasn't even a heart attack. The doctor said everything in his body was cleaned out, even his gut flora. So it's like he was so fucking purified by the mirror and just dropped dead.
Interesting.
The receipt for the locks shows a doorknob repair charge.
That's a good point.
That indicates that there might have been an altercation prior to this.
Someone had tried to break in. We should check with the police if he
the door
reported
didn't
that.
look like there was any. other damage to it. I guess the doorknob could have been damaged beforehand, and it's just not visible now.
I mean, yeah, but somebody could have tried to break in, and that's why he suddenly decided to upgrade his security. Because he didn't say replacement; it does say repair.
It could have just been wear and tear that's been repaired for this.
Could have been. We should ask the locksmith. Maybe we can give him an ask.
Yeah. I think going to see Lucy. Can go find out about the locksmith.
Let's on the way.
There's also what Amelia mentioned. He has been pestered by Mr. Flinders and has been rejecting him. That is their motive.
Yeah.
And he has been a rival of Mr. Roach.
He has. I
rival was
personally...
into
the guy who's hired us.
No, we were hired by Mr. Fallon.
Mr. Fallon?
I see.
Yeah, Bryce Fallon.
So
Who's
we've got...
Mr. Flinders?
Flinders is like a student. But
Mr. Flinders is a student who wanted to work with Mr. Leiter.
His assistant Amelia described him as a nuisance and doesn't seem to be more than that. He was just asking to work for him a lot.
But he has been rejected multiple times.
He has.
And Mr. Roach feels that he is a better historian than Mr. Leiter, but his accomplishments were not as recognised because he's not as well put together or as presentational as Mr. Leiter. So that's a motive of jealousy there.
Yeah.
For why he might want his rival.
I get the impression Leiter's got a bit of a dashing air to him, perhaps. He's got this young waitress in the Roadhouse, and he's got this other girl, Lucy, as well. So
I also learned some other shit, which I completely forgot to mention. Seems to be this guy, Mr. C. Hunter. Who,
Mr. Cunter?
Mr. Cunter, yeah. Which I thought was quite hilarious. Mr. Cunter, who was quite friendly, apparently, with whoever our guy was called. I've forgotten his name already.
Mr. Leiter.
Charles Leiter.
Leiter. And he has like fine art from him, and he also has a letter asking him to visit him at the sanatorium.
So he might have been committed.
Yeah,
he might work there.
Some might say the Arkham Asylum, but
some might. If they wanted to do a Batman tie-in.
Yeah, but I'm not entirely. Did I see a date on the letter, man?
Yes.
Can we see this letter or not?
No, it's not like that. September 17th.
Okay, so that was actually recent. So that was after he got the lockpick.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that. It was only a week away from when he got.
What was the name of the asylum guy?
Mr. C. Hunter, or Cunter for short.
Mr. Cunter, 17th. All right. Well, do we want to go and?
And he also had a casino chip, so.
Yeah, casino chip. Yeah, we knew he had a gambling problem.
There's a possibility is the Hibbs Roadhouse might be the casino in question.
I suspect his trips to Atlantic City were more likely because they have casinos.
Maybe, yeah.
The Roadhouse would be where the waitress is.
Yeah, I don't think you can't just gamble in every state, so I doubt they'd have a casino there.
Some good. Is that in character for Father John Carl?
Yeah, Father John would be very concerned about
I know all about this gambling, and it's an evil, it's a sin. But unfortunately, you can't be gambling up here in New England, very sadly.
So we have once again we have a few different ways we can go.
I don't want.
I think what's her face?
Lucy. But she's at the Roadhouse. I tell you what, we should go and catch her when she's maybe either finishing work or hasn't started yet. Because we don't want to try and trouble her while she's at work. Should we
just go to the locksmith first?
I think we go and ask the locksmith about the repairs and what he had to do. I think we should definitely talk to this Mr. Roach and Mr. Flinders, have a quick chat with them, and then tonight we'll go to the Roadhouse. How does that sound?
What about Mr. Cunter at the asylum? Is anyone we interested in talking to him?
Oh,
we can do that tomorrow.
That can wait.
Okay.
We'll do that tomorrow. Let's go talk to... We're going to go driving from his house, stop by at the locksmith, find out from him, show him the receipt.
Well, right now we're outside Bryce Fallon's office.
Oh, okay.
So whilst we're on the university campus, let's go to Mr. Roach and Mr.
Oh yeah,
Flinders,
Okay, we'll go see Roach and Flinders.
if they're in.
Flinders first. Let's track down this menace.
Okay, so you all going as 5? Or do you want to
Yeah,
split
we're gonna
up?
go as
So-
4. 4.
That's four.
Gregory's
Yeah,
not
four,
here.
Easy.
yeah.
Greg's ghost is
The
following us.
schnoz.
Just his nose following
Yeah, his
us.
nose is so big. It's still here.
Okay, so you ask for Anthony Flinders at the reception, and you get where he lives on campus, and you also find out where Harland Roach sort of teaches and his rough whereabouts. So after a bit of time, you're gonna look for Anthony first, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Anthony's not in his room when you arrive, but after you wait for a bit and then sort of wander around the halls, and he's in one of these sort of big rooms with a bunch of other students by himself in the corner. So you go up and approach him.
Yeah. Mr. Flinders, I'm Father John Carver. Just wondered if we could have a brief chat with you about this terrible business with Mr. Leiter. I know you were very fond of him now.
Oh, well, how do you do? It's not often we get men of the cloth around here. Well, yeah, no, terrible thing, Mr. Leiter. I always looked up to him. Yeah, I don't know what to say about massive heart attack, they say.
Indeed.
Well, I didn't expect that from him, but I guess the burden of his work, I guess, got to him.
Does this guy seem particularly sincere with his?
Well, he's young, handsome. He's kind of dressed normally, well mannered. Just seems like a run of the mill
student.
Yeah.
Did you?
But he doesn't seem particularly beaten up over the fact that.
He didn't. Just one of the
no,
profs died. I wouldn't
no.
expect him to be crying his eyes out about it, but
No, but I mean, like, as in Munt's tone was more like sort of like a sneering.
Oh, well, that's just Munt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
All right. So
take it how you will.
we spoke to his assistant Amelia.
Oh yeah, that bitch. What did she say?
Whoa!
Okay.
Holy shit!
Well, there's no need to be speaking about it like that now. She's a postgrad, of course. You're an undergrad.
She's a suck up, and she's always blocking me from working with Mr. Leiter.
Well,
as
I understand it, he wasn't that keen on working with you.
No, Mr. Leiter. The thing is, my thesis was on colonial history, and especially Arkham's colonial history. So, of course I was enthusiastic about working with Mr. Leiter, but that Amelia, she was always fobbing me off and whispering in his ear that I was no good. I've done all right here, and I could have been of help, but yeah, she basically every time I tried, she would essentially whisper in his ear that I was no good.
How do you know she was doing that? Did you see her literally whispering in his ear?
You could tell. She had something against me. I don't know what. I was just enthusiastic about all these incredible documents that
BR1
we
Mondary
get,
just resubbed
and
for 12
especially
months. The
relating
OLED
to
365.
Arkham. Now, the fact that my thesis relates to Arkham, yeah, of course there's a bit of I want to do well. So, but to fob me off that many times, I mean, it's unheard of. I tried bringing it up with the faculty, but it's up to Mr. Leiter, they said. So
why didn't you approach Professor Roach if you couldn't get closer to Leiter?
Well, you haven't spoken to Mr. Roach, I take it.
Not yet.
Well, when you do, you'll see why. He's a man of experience, so I'll give him that. But he's more general colonial history. Mr. Leiter was really the one that knew about Arkham, which again my thesis is on. So I was really trying to.
What's the name of the girl again? The one who's
Which
blocking?
one? Oh, that's Amelia.
Do you think Amelia and Leiter had anything deeper going on?
Well, I wouldn't put it past him. She looks modest, but I reckon she's real filthy. And he's a real womanizer. He's always like a good-looking chap. People always interested in him. Handsome. I mean, what more could you ask for? And a professor at that age. I just wanted a bit of that. I just wanted share some success. Write my thesis, and then go from there. But well, I'm not going to get that chance now, am I?
Is there any sort of check? Not
Yeah.
like not.
You want to do a
game sense,
psychology
but, like,
check?
I could do a weak psychology
I want to see
on him.
I want to see like if he's lying or any signs that
Absolutely.
he's lying.
Yep. Roll me a psychology check. If who's actually speaking?
Well, I was
Like-
talking to him. I've only got 30
Okay.
psychology though.
I've
got 50.
Right,
We
go
can
for it,
all
Roy.
do it. We can do a group psychology.
All right.
Let's do a group.
Where is... oh, there.
Roy's nailed it. As have I.
Yes, Roy.
Yes, Roy.
Oh, it's-
I've had all sorts in the back of my
Oh,
cab, mate. Let me
Evan.
tell you.
um.
Let me take a look at that face of yours.
So.
I always know when
So-
someone's lying, mate. I tell you what.
So he's not. You don't know if he's necessarily lying, but you do feel that there's genuine, like he genuinely believes that Amelia was a big reason why he's like passionate
Interesting.
about, and you can almost sense like an air of obsession coming from him while he's saying
Right.
all this. He's maybe getting a bit too much into it.
Perhaps there was a crime of passion in here somewhere.
Might I know a bit more about your thesis? Why are you so interested in Mr. Leiter to work on it?
Well, so my thesis is on Arkham during the days of old, the sort of old colonial days of Arkham, and Mr. Leiter was an expert in colonial history of that time, of this area. So naturally, he was my go-to professor to try and write a thesis and get it approved and all that. But there really was no one else like him in terms of that sort of level of expertise. So I definitely went to him a fair few times. If I went too many times, who's to say? But you can't settle for anything less than the best.
No, of course. You must strive, always strive. Now, were there any documents that he perhaps possessed that would have been helpful for your thesis?
Oh, I wouldn't know about that. They never let me in on any of those details. I know him and Amelia, they're always doing all these transcribes for foreign entities appraising and all that, but that was just between them. I never got in on any of that, although I'd have loved to. That would have really helped me out.
I see.
How the fuck do you add text to your journal?
If you mouse over the little text, a little pen pops up in the top right.
Alright. I've clicked it. It doesn't seem
Do
like
we have any
it's
more
happened.
questions for this, lad, or shall we go
I
chat
do have
to
some.
Reg?
I do have some more
Oh, go
questions.
for it.
It's curious because Amelia mentioned that she felt you were determined to look at some of the old documents. Was that just generally, or is you sure there's nothing specific you wanted?
Can you roll a persuade?
Shit,
Sure.
you should have got me to do that. Damn, that's my,
Well,
my only
take better
talent.
notes next time.
what-
Take better notes next time.
It's my only talent.
No, I mean, look, I know for a fact they've got all sorts of interesting stuff in there. Some of it must relate to things that are to do with my thesis. I don't know what, but it's just a shame. It's just a shame. I was just asking for a bit of information to help me out. The reaction I got was was uncalled for, in my opinion.
Can I
truly
try and
such a
persuade
shame.
him to tell us specifically what information he was after? That might give us a clue as to what he was after.
I could try and intimidate him as well.
Okay, right. Yeah. Go for persuade.
So Roy and John Carver looming over you.
Nice.
So, what are you
Yeah,
saying?
anything to actually say.
You gotta give us more than that now, boy. What were you after? That much persistence can't just have been to help you with your work. You've obviously done all right. You've finished your thesis. You're a smart boy. What were you looking for specifically? There must have been something in particular you wanted to be that persistent.
And he kind of looks at you and smirks, shakes his head in disbelief, and then says, "All right, look. If you must know, the entire university knows about the Arkham Witch Trial papers. All right, it's no secret. We all know that old Hobhouse died, and the university has the Arkham Witch Trial papers. It's literally the thing I'm writing my thesis on. And in what world is a student who is writing a thesis on the Arkham Witch Trials not allowed to see documents about the Arkham Witch Trials? It's baffling to me. And, we're not supposed to know because it's all secretive. It's like, business. But something that big, I mean, come on. No one's ever seen this document. That would have absolutely helped me with my thesis, 100%.
I see.
Right. Well, obviously we can't mention the fact they're missing because they don't want the university doesn't want that getting out. So unless anyone else has,
You didn't try to break into his house by any chance, did you?
Excuse me?
Just joking. Come on then. We're gonna go chat to this Professor Roach fella.
Okay, so you leave Flinders and you find Harland Roach in his office. It's kind of near Lighter's office, just down a flight of stairs, basically.
Alright, in we go. Professor Roach. My name is Father John Carver.
The man sitting there is like, he's fat, sweaty, thick bottle bottom spectacles.
Does he outmatch me?
He's got he is big. He's a large lad, really thick glasses, thinning, oiled hair, and kind of wearing like disheveled, ill-fitting clothes. And he's kind of just sitting there, like breathing really loudly while he's flipping through this.
oh,
this
he's a
book.
huffer.
Yeah.
Bob comes in. Do you mind?
Do you mind? You mind? Just me.
So he looks up as you enter, and he says, "Yes, how can I help you?"
Professor Roach, I'm Father John Carver, and these are my associates.
Okay, my fucking
I'm not a
identity.
doctor, sorry. I'm Father John Carver. We're just here investigating the death of Professor Leiter, your colleague. We're aware that you weren't best friends with him, and we're not expecting you to tell us what a great man he was or anything, but of course, it's troubling to think of a member of staff being killed or dying in such a way, so we hope anything you could tell us would be of use. And we just had a few questions for you, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, get on with it then.
How well did you know Mr. Leiter?
Barely. We didn't really speak, obviously. He was a man of arrogance, always claiming first prize, and yet I'm the one with more awards, more published books, more recognition, and yet he was the one that always managed to get the prestigious transcribes. Would have loved to have got my hands on some of these documents, but it's up to the faculty. But
was he a good historian, though, in your view?
I mean, yes, but I mean, he specialized in colonial history, especially in Arkham. You know what it's like with specialization. The world, it's easy to know everything. when you actually broaden your horizons like I do and do general colonial history, then that's a lot more to understand, to know. So yeah, I mean, expert in a field. I mean, an extremely niche field, but if that's what you want to call it, then.
And did you get a look at these papers, the Arkham Witch
The
Trial
Arkham
papers?
Witch Trial papers, yeah, famous. But they I've never seen them myself, but extremely valuable. And I dare say Mr. Fallon has told you to keep this investigation on the down low.
Of course. So you were
Well,
not permitted to see them, or you just never got the opportunity?
well, not necessarily not permitted, but they come in from the estate and they're given to Mr. Leiter, and that aspect of uh, that aspect is the business side, and once the appraisal's been made, then it would have been made more readily available for other members of staff and potentially students. But as far as I'm aware, it was still in the appraisal phase.
And how long would you say the appraisal phase normally lasts?
Oh, I I've not really done appraisals for some time, but couple of weeks, maybe a few weeks, I would say.
And how long had they had the papers for?
I would say. I think the Mr. Hobhouse passed away, let's say, late August, I vaguely recall. University maybe got the papers early September, and to be fair, there were quite a few documents, so yeah, I would have said he would have been finished. At least if he was as good as I was, he would nearly have been finished with the appraisals. Probably maybe a week from now, potentially. But I couldn't say for sure. This is all
Of course,
guess.
just speculation. And I know that you didn't have much dealings with him, but had you heard much about him? Any rumors or any stories, anything about him leading up to the time that he died that might give us some idea of his state of mind?
Well, he was a bit of an oily man. He was a gambler. Do you know that?
I'd heard the rumor.
Sort of man is committed to academia and then whittles away his free time gambling like some sort of common thug. You know, that's a sign of mental decay, if you ask me. A vice like that, it's only detrimental to the university. So, you know, quite frankly, I'm not surprised something bad ended up to him.
And obviously, I'm not putting you under any kind of suspicion here at all. We're just trying to get a timeline of where people were. Whereabouts were you the night that he died?
Well, I was at home. I don't recall there being any disturbance when the university day ended. Simply went home, same as everyone else, and then came back, and there was this whole ordeal with Mr. Leiter.
I see. Any other questions from anybody?
Speaking of his gambling, were you aware of any particular places he frequented?
Oh, I don't know for sure, but if I had to bet, it would have been Atlantic City.
Atlantic
It's
City.
the nearest place with any sort of
The Boardwalk
gambling,
Empire, lads.
yeah, but other than that, you know, I didn't know him personally. I didn't really have anything to do with him. I mean, that's all I can say, really.
Have you had any interactions with the student, Mr. Flinders?
Flinders? No, I've taught him in a couple of classes. Seems to keep to himself. Doesn't really seem out of the ordinary. Doesn't really seem to have any friends, to be honest. But that's usually a good sign when it comes to academia. It means that they're focused on their studies.
And do you know
Not
anything
like
about
gambling.
Amelia Court, Charles Leiter's assistant? Anything about her at all?
Oh, I mean, she's been here a couple of years now. Helps him out with the transcribes and things like that. No, I've talked to her once or twice, but not really on terms with her.
And she was a postgraduate, so had you taught her at all?
Yeah, I taught her a couple of times, I suppose, but again, I don't really sort of keep tabs on any of my students. I just teach what I teach, and they get on with it. But you know, my specialization of general colonial history is not a huge part of the sort of history courses that people take, so it's not uncommon for me to see many faces.
I see.
Would you be willing to speculate with your general knowledge of what was of such interest in these Arkham papers? Why is everyone so into them?
Well, the Arkham witch trials, obviously there's always going to be fascination from those less learned about the kind of occult and things like that. Spooky stories, you know, popular with the kids. But in terms of the documents themselves, there's very little information on the witch trials from that time. A lot of the records we have, I believe, are from much later periods, and so as I'm sure you'd be aware, not entirely accurate. But these were written at the time, and therefore they're of great academic interest to us here at the university.
And just about Amelia again, you mentioned that did she normally work with Mr. Leiter on the appraisals?
I don't really know the ins and outs of their relationship, but Mr. Leiter would almost certainly do all the highly valuable documents, and assistants I would do the menial
I see,
bits
I
and
see.
bobs.
Of course, as expected. Unless anyone else has any questions, we must thank you very much for your time, Mr. Roach.
Been grilled sufficiently.
Well, if you need any more help, investigators, you know where to find me.
Thank you, sir. And God bless you. Huh.
So what have we learned? Flinders almost, he wanted these documents.
He's so
pretty desperately.
transparent. I can't believe that he would have actually had
But
anything.
he did kind of own up to the fact that he wanted them. So
yeah, but I mean,
worth bearing in mind. But I don't think he's capable of burning someone's eyes out.
I mean, he didn't like Amelia. She may not have liked him. I mean, I get it. We could ask her about that, but she was pretty. I think he was much more unpleasant about her. He doesn't seem like a particularly nice individual. But maybe antisocial, doesn't have any friends, Roach said. I'm kind of reluctant to pin either Roach or Flinders with any kind of real motive beyond fairly superficial. Certainly not enough to make a fucking mirror laser his insides. And I don't see how either of them would. This Lucy seems suspicious. I'm just
all
wondering
three have
what's
also
going on.
mentioned gambling.
I mean, he could have had
So it seems
gambling debts, but which kind of
it's
gambling debts
continual.
do you have with someone who can make a mirror laser you? Like, I don't see how. I'm just wondering if maybe he fell in with the wrong people and owed some money, and that might have been what the break-in was about, but I don't know. His paranoia, these papers. Something tells me that whatever he was reading about in the papers, he started to get paranoid. If he was paranoid about whatever he read in the papers, like he's reading something in the papers, it might have revealed that there was some kind of... Maybe some of the names looked familiar and he recognized that some surviving members of these witch trials or something. You know, I mean, you never know. If the
I'm just thinking in terms of if there's anything else that we would need to investigate based on what these people have said. I think it's still Lucy next, right?
I think it has.
Or
to be
no, the
Lucy
locksmith first. Do you want to ask about the damage that he had to repair?
Locksmith, Lucy, and then tomorrow we'll do the asylum, I guess.
Asylum, and then Arkham City is a possibility as well.
Do you mean Atlantic City?
Atlantic City, apologies.
I mean, we can go to Atlantic City, but he's just another gambler there. We'd need more to go on than a casino.
Yeah, of course.
We would at least know a casino to go to and say, do you know a Charles Leiter?
Lucy may know.
Yeah, Lucy may know more. I think if we go there last, we should check out the asylum because his mate was there, right? So that's definitely worth.
Mr. Canto.
Yeah, let's go and check. Let's go ask this locksmith, Munt, real quick before we head over to the roadhouse.
Yep. So you're gonna bundle in together.
We're bundling into the Roy-mobile and away we go.
Yep.
Okay. So you head over to the locksmith, short drive from the university, and there's a guy just standing around behind the desk.
Just showing the receipt. You fitted some locks and things to a house recently of a deceased man where, on behalf of his employers, we're just investigating a few things about him. Just some very basic questions for you. Nothing too detailed, nothing to do with any privacy. We'd just like to know, you fitted a new doorknob to this man's house. We just wanted to know, was there signs of a break-in when you got there? And was that why he was upgrading his security, or did he just fancy it? What did he say to you about it?
He kind of smiles at you, and then he presses a button on the till, and the till kind of opens like ka-ching, and he just says, "Oh well, I don't really remember."
I'll slide him $5.
He puts the $5 in his till, and he says, "Yeah, it was a placement job. Been battered as far as I recall. It's that bloke in the university, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but his door was kind of messed up. So we placed the doorknob, placed the lock, just in case someone was trying to get in, and then decided that he wanted some locks on his windows and stuff like that. So did that for him."
And did it seem like they hadn't actually made it in past the door? They just attempted to break in. Is that what you're saying?
He opens the till again.
I'll slide him another $5.
No, the door and the lock were completely busted. Yeah, we had to completely replace them.
But that doesn't. So does that mean they made it in, or they didn't?
Yeah, that means somebody must have made it in.
He's implying that someone had basically forced the door open, and that's why
they've been inside. Yeah.
Does anyone have any more questions for this guy? Because I don't. I'm out of money now. Somebody else needs to question him.
I don't think there's much else you can ask him, though. Is there?
Well, we can always go and hit an ATM and then come back if we think of anything. So,
I mean, what have we got so far? It's
somebody tried to break into his house.
So he was basically what we found out here is he's justifiably paranoid, right?
Yeah, somebody broke.
It's not just he's descended into his own mind, but someone
house.
was actually targeting
somebody
him.
looking
so that
for
might
those
be
papers.
Related to either gambling related things or Arkham related things. It could be, but he was deliberately being targeted.
Roach
I mean, it could have been that student lad looking for the papers, but I don't know.
Roach said that the papers would have been made available after the appraisal.
Yeah.
So why couldn't he wait?
Roach, yeah, good point.
All right, let's go see Lucy.
Okay, so you're gonna wait until after hours, basically.
Well, let's go along there first.
Okay.
If she's a waitress at a roadhouse, that's going to be open in the evening. We'll go along in the evening and see if we can chat to her. And if she wants to wait till her shift is over, we can spend an evening smoking cigars and having a couple of whiskeys, and then we'll chat to her.
Yep. Okay. Okay, so you take her a bit of a longer ride to the Hibbs Roadhouse, and she's just, well, you don't know what she looks like, but you can assume that she may well be here. So you'll probably have to ask around.
We'll ask the barman. Is Lucy working tonight?
And he just polishing glass. He nods, and she's just like in the corner talking to one of the customers. She's like mid-20s, bright blonde, sort of classic waitress look almost. Yeah.
She's ancient in her mid-20s.
Yeah, she's a baby in her mid-20s. So, do you want to approach her now, or do you want to wait until?
We may as well approach her. When she's finished with this customer, we'll get her attention and get her over here.
Okay.
Is there anyone in the roadhouse who stands out from?
So if you look around, there's just a couple. When you go into the roadhouse, there's the main part of the building, which is just a cafe and soft juice bar essentially, with just a couple of sort of normal looking people. Didn't really stand out, but to the side of the counter there's a curtain, like a red curtain in front of a door that obviously leads somewhere else, and then to the very back there's a open door that leads to basically the back room I supply. It's just open. There's someone else working in there.
Right, Lucy, I'm Father John Carver. I've just had a couple of questions, if I could, about Charles Leiter.
And she hears you say his name, and she almost like drops the thing she's holding. She's like, "Oh, yeah, one moment," and she kind of just runs off back to behind the counter, finishes off a few things, and then comes back over to you with a notepad and pencil, and she's like, "Yep, he's what about him? He's dead, isn't he?"
We're sorry to say that he is. How did you know him?
Well, came by one time, and just say it was love at first sight. Can't believe it. They won't even let me see his body, you know.
It's probably for the best now.
Well, why is that? They said it was a heart attack.
Yeah, but it's been a week, so it's probably for the best you don't see him now, eh? Remember him as he was, full of life and a vivacious, charming, handsome historian, of course.
Oh, I can't believe it. Well, yeah, I mean, we've been together for a bit. I don't know, a few months, but I can't believe it. Yeah, how it ended up. What did you want to know about him?
How often did he come here?
Okay, a few times. I mean, he only came here once a few months ago, and then got to talking, and before you knew it, we were sort of dating, and been here a couple of times since. But this is where I work, so it's not exactly a sort of top destination.
So you saw him outside work. He'd come and you'd go out and so on.
Oh yeah, I never saw him. I never saw him at work. No, I've never been to university. I only came here to Arkham about a year ago, so yeah, saw him here, and then that was it.
And had you ever been to his house?
Yeah, no, loads of times I've been to his house, been to mine. You know, of course, I mean,
of course,
by himself.
So let me ask, did he mention anything to you about a break-in at his house about a week or two ago?
Oh, no, but he definitely was really paranoid the past few weeks. Didn't tell me why it was, but yeah, he changed. Poor Charlie. Just just wasn't himself. Just he was such a happy, outgoing young man. Pleasure to be with, and to go from that to sort of almost like a nervous wreck over the course of a couple of weeks. It was sad, and didn't seem like there was anything I could do about it.
And had you seen him? How recently before he sadly died? When was the last time you'd seen him?
Oh, must have been a half a week, 3-4 days, I suppose. Saw him at his house, but he was really in a bad way, and I left early to leave him to it.
And what's
rated with 665 viewers.
Thank you, Harry. And what's behind that red curtain over there? If you don't mind me asking, I'm just curious.
Do you can you give me a persuade?
Of course, I can give you a persuade.
Luckily, I didn't ask that.
Well, mister, I mean, we sell drinks there that aren't particularly, let's say, well received by
law enforcement.
By the law, So if you want,
you're not getting any judgment from me. God made alcohol to be drunk. By goodness, don't we drink communion wine, for goodness sake, and don't get me started on it. Whiskey illegal, it's madness. Anyone else got any questions for Lucy, though?
Did he ever talk about what was bothering him? Was he very silent during the time that he was very nervous?
Well, I couldn't really say, but we went to Atlantic City a couple of times, and I have a feeling my Charlie might have gone into a spot of bother over there. He liked to gamble, but I don't know.
Some debt collectors came after him, or?
Can you roll me a persuade, or what else? Is there another way you would like to phrase that?
Intimidate.
Oh, for God's sake!
Yeah, threaten this poor bereaved
fine.
widow. Hell yeah, Roy.
Go on, Roy.
You're gonna have to RP it.
You have to RP it first. So
geez,
how are you asking her in intimidating way?
Well, he's failed it, so Roy goes to put his hand on the bar and slap it down, misses, and falls through the bar like Del Boy.
And then a fork flies through the air and stabs him in the eye. Take 5 damage.
That's the great description.
The question was,
had there been debt collectors
had there
after
been
him?
debt collectors? No, I don't know. I just know that might have fallen in with the wrong crowd, but didn't really share those details with him. Wasn't really making money from his from his antics, I guess. So
Now, was there anyone in Atlantic City when you were there that stood out as someone that he knew down there? That he might have been a regular somewhere and they knew him?
Oh, I don't know. I couldn't quite remember. No, I don't think so. We mostly kept to ourselves and had a good time and came back. No, I don't recall anything.
I see.
Did he have any casinos he preferred to frequent?
Oh, yeah, he did have a favourite, yeah, but I don't really recall the name.
We've got that poker chip, haven't we? So
we didn't go there every time, but yeah, I think he liked to change it up, but he went many times, but I only went with him a couple of times. But you could try talking to what's his name? Mr. Wick.
Mr. John Wick?
Mr. Abnowick. He owns that antiquities store down the road.
Oh.
Him and Leiter were professionally close, I suppose. But yeah, I only met him once or twice. Real old-fashioned gentleman. But no, that's about.
Oh no, that's fantastic. Thank you. Do you lot have any other questions for Lucy?
No.
I'll
I guess. Did you notice any physical changes on him in the last few days?
Oh, no. He was just very nervous, very paranoid. That's it. That's what I can think of.
I'll slide her $5 for her time because she's been missing out on
Yeah.
tips, and I'll say, thank you, Lucy. You've been of great help, and we're very, very sorry about what happened to your Charlie.
I hope you understand you're not charging this to the company, all this bribery.
Of course I am. Feckin' Egypt.
She kind of bows, says thank you, and she stuffs it in her pocket and walks off.
That wasn't even Lucy. Just some random lad.
Some random. So the bloke leaves, and he's like, "Thanks, mate."
Well, we have three options.
Abnowick is one.
We have the Mr. Abnowick, we have Mr. Cunter, or we can just go behind the red curtain and get fucking smashed.
Well, now, come on, tolerance and, I don't mind killing demons, but I'm not about breaking the law now.
So I think, do we want to? Well, I guess the first question is: do we want to stick together and keep?
I think so.
Traveling as a posse.
I think so. This is the point when things start to get spicy. I don't mind looking
Yeah,
around
this
a
is when
university.
things normally start going fucking wrong.
But once we have to start
11
going in
PM.
mysterious antiquarians and asylums, that when it starts to get a bit fruity after hours, I suggest we stick together. Do we want to stop there? Because that's 2.5 hours. I'm starting to get a bit tired, in all honesty. But it's up to you lads if we want to keep going. I just think this is a nice point to stop. We've got a decent amount of investigation, and we wouldn't get into any big stuff.
Can I poke my head into the bar area?
Yeah.
Just to,
want to
just to
quickly
see
check
what-
the bar?
Yeah.
So there's just a few people. It's kind of dim. A couple of lads in suits and fedoras. But other than that, not really anything of note.
Is there anyone having a conversation I could potentially listen to, or read lips?
Yes, you could. You want to slip in and potentially listen in on someone. There's two gentlemen in suits, like I said, suits and fedoras, sitting at the bar, and they are quietly talking. You might be able to get a hard listen check if you sit next to them.
Read lips.
You could potentially read lips. So if you're poking your nose in, you've only got about maybe 5-10 seconds before you have to leave. So
Yeah.
roll me a read lips.
I'm on Evelyn. Nice.
Okay, so you can only really see one of them talking to the other, but he's basically saying something along the lines of that he doesn't believe. He's like, I don't believe he's dead. Essentially, is the gist of it. I don't believe he's dead. She knows nothing, and that's basically all you can kind of discern from that.
Shit, we should have asked Lucy if someone else had spoken to her about Charlie.
Judging by their attire, they're probably detectives. Maybe with the police, or they could
But
be
we're not-
private.
Or they're fucking mafia, mate.
The police haven't been informed, as far as I'm aware.
Also,
Unless
bear
I'm-
in mind you are in the backroom bar.
Yeah. Evelyn needs to scarp her.
Yeah, I'll get out.
So shall we call it there then?
Yeah, let's
Sure.
go there. Maybe Gregory can even join us for next time.
Yeah, hope. Right.
Sorry I'm late, lads. I had go see my bird. Alright, Charlie. Thanks.
Lads, do you know the Arkham papers are missing?
Alright, cheers, boys. Good stuff, Munt,
Right.
as usual. I feel like we're really detectiving at the moment. I like the detectiving bit. Perhaps more than the fighting bit, because I'm not good at that. I can at least do some persuading and stuff like that. My lad's more built as an investigator, not a scrapper. That's why we need people like Charlie and Roy. Anyway, and fucking Evelyn, dead shot Evelyn. All right, cheers, guys. I'll see you next time.
GGs.
We'll set up a
Yep.
date.
Yeah.
Peace. Right, and I'll see you lot tomorrow. I've got Triforce tomorrow. Then I won't be streaming Friday. And maybe not Saturday, but I should be back on Sunday. It depends. But yeah, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Cheers for watching. Take it easy. Peace out.